Okay, hashtag wow, hashtag now. Today, both of us here want to talk about the subject of toxic fandom. It's been a subject that's been dealt with before, back in, well, over 20 years ago, and it's worth mentioning now based on the idea that a lot of the stuff that's said about toxic fans has not changed quite a bit. One of the complaints that people have about movies that hasn't changed is you ever read the comic book? Okay, I can't pronounce the name, like the Eliteville Club. So I have a trouble pronouncing the name. But it does deal with the idea of four characters, four teenagers that live with their parents, who really hate each other. I mean, they'd have a two-part comic book. They showed them fighting each other and arguing all the time. And honestly, they had a one pilot episode that ended up not going anywhere. But what I don't have the comic book, but what I read from the internet, the comic book actually is a lot more violent, and it does deal with other stuff. They're talking about the movies. One of it is, believe it or not, movies had too much special effect and not much story. Like I said, nowadays that's even more true since they rely on too much CGI. Actors are in green screen rooms and not in actual places. So again, this is why we bring up this clone as well as MTV's Downtown. Okay, seriously, bringing up Downtown, we really need to get a re-release on Blu-ray and DVD with all the special features and maybe a little bit more. Right now, the DVD is going for over $300. It's a good. Don't get me wrong, it's good because it does have the commentary and all that stuff. But $300, come on. But at any rate, episode 5 does deal with the idea of Alex. He doesn't like the idea of where his life is going, and he feels that fandom is taking over his life where he can't have a life, even to a point where he's even obsessed over an action figure. Another thing is that he's also afraid that people might like him, especially a girl that, that he's infatuated with. He gets to a point where he actually, turning point for him was watching an older version of himself yelling at a poor Star clerk about it, and even one day even grabbing the last action figure to complete a set, and Adams watching him get angry at him, thinking that he took his life because he doesn't have this one action figure. When it comes down to it, there's nothing wrong with fandom. We're talking about toxic fandom. Both of them have to deal with the idea. I think the Elite Club, Eliteville Club. Sorry, I can't pronounce the name very well. But the idea here is it shows a lot of pent up anger, the fact that they don't have much of a social life, even well, even to the point where they're oppressed because they're not going to get a girlfriend, to a point where they're obsessed with the female characters on the show. In the end, it's okay to love fandom. It's okay to get involved with the fandom, but when it starts turning toxic, honestly, I think that's when we need to reevaluate our lives. They're good shows. I'm sure people want you to be the fan of their work. But try to find a fine line between the fact that being inspirational versus being obsessed. One of the things that's upsetting is they have all this knowledge. They're very smart, but they don't apply to something that could help them out in life. So in ways, they don't even have the proper guidance. A lot of fans who are into stuff do find ways to make it part of their lives, or at least try to make it part of life. In my case, I like art, I like stories, and for a long time I tried to be an artist. As you already know, it didn't work out very well. Still, even if it doesn't work out, it also points out the fact that at least you're trying to turn something healthy. You actually want to try to be part of the outside world and not just stay in a fictional world. And I think that what comes down to it. It's a fictional world, it's fun, but don't make it your entire life unless you're actually trying to make money off of it, which most people don't. I think when it comes down to it, people just need friends and a proper focus on how to deal with life. Stuff like this is supposed to encourage you to make friends, but again, some cases, like the Eliteville Club, sorry, I really had trouble with the name, kind of point out the fact that there's a bunch of people who normally would not coming together, and again, even the comic book it got a little more violence. It showed a little bit more blood, a little more destruction. I mean, this one they did make it a little bit more comical. The cartoon made it more comical. The comic book made it a little darker. But again, what are your thoughts on Toxic Fandom? Again, we're talking about Toxic Fandom, not regular fandom. How should you, if you find yourself in a Toxic Fandom um, situation, how would you deal with it? And what's your definition? How should people approach fandom in a healthier way? If there are groups that people could join to form friendships, or just sometimes maybe you should just quit the fandom altogether. Again, I can't solve this in a YouTube video, but I just want to get that out there about talking about it. Again, we're talking about toxic fandom, not regular fandom. At any rate, I'm sure there's a lot more. Now, again, the reason why we brought up these two videos is the idea that these are older videos. They were over 20 years ago. And honestly, like I said, nothing has changed. Well, anyway, like as usual, like and subscribe to the video. Write down your comments. What are your thoughts about toxic fandom? Did you experience toxic fandom yourself? Are you a toxic fan? Do you know someone's a toxic fan? What your advice would you give people? Either before you get to the fandom or still in the fandom? Write in the comments below. And as always, hope your day sucks a little less.